Welcome back to season two. Actually, it's not even welcome back to season two. It's literally welcome back to Section OD. Cause what? Ain't no party like a Section OD party. Cause a Section OD party don't stop. Ain't no party like a Section OD party. Cause a Section OD party don't stop. I think that just might be my intro. I think it probably is now. I think it is. Yeah, I like it. I'm messing with it. Anyways, y'all. First of all, Happy New Year's. Happy Black History Month, one of my personal favorite months of the year, for many reasons, of course. But it's just like, I love that it's short, but I also, like Whitney said, we need a longer month. So I decided that I wanted to title this episode, What Makes a Tastemaker? Because, okay, let me just go ahead and put it out there. I feel like I often get told that I have great taste, and that's subjective from a personal standpoint, and for whoever sees and watches my content knows me personally. But it had me thinking, like, what makes people think that someone has taste, and then what also are the skills, are the requirements, if there is any requirements, for someone who is considered a tastemaker. And when I think of tastemakers, I think of people who are able to curate things in a very specific way. And especially as I think about fashion, as I think about, art, when I think about even living spaces, like what makes someone a tastemaker. And we're going to get into a couple things in this episode. Y'all know me, I'm going to give you a high and I'm going to give you a low, and I'm always give you fun and a laugh. But that's the first thing. Let's just get into the whole tastemaker thing and what that actually is. So I never thought to Google it. I don't know why I didn't think to Google it before I started this episode, but I'm gonna go ahead and Google it. What's the definition of a tastemaker? I really should have done this before, but y'all know me. I'm always do something in the spur of the moment, and not prior sometimes. Okay. So from what Google says, a tastemaker is a person who decides or influences what is or will become fashionable. See, I think a lot of people hear the word fashionable, they hear the word fashionable and they only think clothing. The way of life is fashionable. To the point of what I said earlier, your living space is fashionable. What you eat is fashionable because aesthetics are a part of fashion, So to the point of it, like, influencers for the most part are tastemakers. I personally, I don't like being called an influencer. Do I have influential aspects of me? Yes. But the concept of a tastemaker is just creme de la creme, just the je ne sais quoi of everything, I like that concept of someone being a tastemaker rather than an influencer. Because me personally, I love curating things. Like, the whole concept of Section OD was something I wanted to curate as a feeling, as a vibe, as something you listen to, you see, you watch. So, yeah. I think for me, in defining tastemaker and what that is, I feel like in this day and age, a tastemaker to an extent is someone who is an influencer. However, I do think that person is able to curate something that people don't get tired of. And that's always been my goal, is that I never want people to feel tired of me. I think that's why I like to keep things, it keeps things going. Anyways, I think that's why I like to constantly look for change and ways to change how I look, how I appear, how I think, how I view things, my understandings. And yeah, there's so many ways that, we can all be tastemakers in our own small niche, communities, groups, families, etc. So to the point of it, like, maybe it can be a challenge to the people who are listening and watching. Ask yourself the question, what makes you a tastemaker in your own life? What are you doing in your personal life that makes people feel like because I feel like we all possess some form of influence in some sort of way, especially when I think of like marketing and the whole concept of word of mouth marketing. That starts from the people. Like, we are as a people, we are very powerful people. But I don't want to get too political into things. But basically what I'm trying to say is, like, ask yourself, where do you feel as though in any segment of your life do you feel like you are a tastemaker? But yeah, so that's the start of this episode. Is that so? Let's just go ahead and just jump into something, or I guess this is the low, which is discussing what we recently just saw at the start of this week. And if you're watching this in the later times, the date is January 30th, 2023. The Cut drops a very prolific critique of Curvy John Raymond of Pyre Moss. I had to pause there for a little bit just because, like, I want to be really careful with how I'm going to carry this conversation, because, to be honest with y'all, from my general understanding when I read it, and prior to even reading this article, this coverage or whatever, I was already having these conversations with my friends. Like, when the article dropped, I legitimately sent it to my group chat of friends where we had this conversation at Dumble House, like, randomly at the start of last fall. And I'm like, y'all, someone finally said it. And then to see the response on, social media being like, oh my gosh, finally, it's kind of distasteful. And it's also like, damn, like, we're all part of the problem. Like, I'm very much, my mindset right now with this whole conversation is very much like two things can be true at once. Because yes, the way he treated his employees was very distasteful. The way he mishandled his funds of his brand, very distasteful. But also it's like, we all collectively, and when I say we all, I don't expect people who have and I don't want there to seem like there's a hierarchy, but people who just have a very simple understanding of fashion to feel like they are a part of the problem, because a lot of the times people are very, naive or just not aware of things that go on within certain industries. But this is for the people who have platformed themselves in this space and have taken a part in kind of playing into not his downfall, because I don't really think this specific article is going to be the plight of him or his brand. I think if anything, it should wake him up in figuring out how to navigate his way around this after. I from a personal standpoint, I really do think that article was well written. It was very facts based. It was very, for me, it came off, the tone was very unbiased. And for there to be a influx of people like trying to come for the writer, it's just like, but you guys all collectively felt like this, but had different tones about this too. But I think it was well written. I think she did a great job in her reporting. That's literally journalistic reporting. That's award winning. I'm sorry. No shade, no tea. That's award winning reporting. I don't know. I only have a very level-headed understanding of like fashion writing. But she did a great job. She did what kind of needed to be done. And sometimes I feel like certain things happen in certain people's lives, and we have these certain experiences as a learning lesson, as a means of protection. So who knows what would have happened if this didn't come out, if things would have gotten worse for, Kirby and his brand. Who knows? But I do think that the one thing I really do want to kind of cover on this topic is the concept of, us as Black people and how we go about, one, platforming people, and then two, how do we go about that said person we platformed when they do something that is considerably problematic to the masses or to the general public. What he did was very problematic. However, I don't really think he needs to be canceled. I think it's, for me personally, just viewing it, I really hope it's just a learning lesson, and he's able to take everything that's happened and figure out how to restructure his brand. Because Prior Moss, when it started, was something that really spoke to, it still resonates with so many people, but it got lost in the sauce. Like, it really did. It got lost in the sauce. Like, so the one thing that kind of bothered me from that article and reading that was when I saw that he kind of called Pyre Moss an art project. And I said this to my friend on the phone because we have these discussions about things. That I was like, why is it when all else fails, this doesn't just only apply to Black designers, Black, etc., anyone in general, and more specifically when I think about men in certain spaces, why is it when all else fails, they tend to kind of downplay what they have created? Because I feel like Pyre Moss, to his extent, yes, it was an art project because he didn't know how to operate it from a business aspect, but also it's just like it felt like an excuse as to why he couldn't sell, because you clearly have the resources. You're being backed by caring, babes. Like you're being backed by caring. Be for real. Like you're having the biggest people in the industry looking at you and just holding you to a standard. Ask for help. I don't know. Literally ask for help. And then, he basically used the funds that he won from the, I was about to say FDA, CFDA award. And he basically was able to buy out one of his backers. And that backer was the one that was basically handling the business from a business aspect while he was handling the business from a creative aspect. So it's like, why would you take somebody out that literally is helping you do something that you clearly don't know how to do in your best, in your best? It just didn't make sense. Like, it literally makes no sense. I mean, granted, he does have a degree, I believe, from what I read in the article, in business marketing. I will also be putting this article in the bio. I really want y'all to read it. And I really also want you to kind of like read it and also understand what I'm saying. So like nothing is in confusion, because I can't fact check as I'm podcasting at the same time. But yeah, so he had that knowledge, but of course it wasn't his strength. Being creative was his strength. So just from that aspect of understanding business and fashion and the combination of both is like, why would you take someone out that's doing the necessary work you need to make this brand be what it is? Because at the end of the day, as a fashion designer, you have to sell clothes. Like, yeah, I guess it's cute that you're saying it was an art project, but like, babes, even artists, even contemporary artists, they still got to sell art. Like, let's be serious. Let's be focused. Like, be focused. You still got to sell something. And if you can't do it, if you know you don't have the capacity or the understanding or the strength to do it, that's why you have teams. You have the resources to do so. And then the people who are sitting here trying to help you, you're firing them, you're mistreating them. That's disgusting. So I don't know. From a personal standpoint, I don't feel too bad about it coming out, because I feel like it's, to his point, it's a learning lesson. Take the critique and work on you and your brand. For me, just to kind of close this out, because I don't want to dwell too much on this, and I don't want the main focus of this podcast to be about Pyre Moss and, Kirby or whatever. I just hope that, as in the future, collectively as Black people, that we're able to hold each other accountable and, it not feel like we're canceling each other or we're like dragging each other down. Like I feel like this kind of feels like a step forward to a very healthy conversation on when something goes wrong. And I'm also glad that there are people within the industry who are platforming him in a certain way. We're able to say like, yeah, we really should have said something when this happened, especially when we think about the couture show. Babes, now I feel like I can't even sit here and act like I'm not a bad guy. Like, well, hold on. That's not what I mean. I mean, I'm not going to say and act like I didn't kind of play a part in that, in a sense. Like, when, Kirby had his couture show, I was still very much like keeping my fashion thoughts to myself. I didn't have a podcast. Everything I said, and even to this day, there's certain conversations I'm still only having them with my friend group because, we're able to have that discourse and resolve it, and it doesn't lead to something bigger or whatever. So seeing his couture show in 2021, we were all excited. Like, what? Like, the first Black American to present at Couture Week? Like, that's major. That's major. But let me not even try to attempt a British accent. I don't even know why I did that. But that's major, That's huge. And I think we were all just genuinely so excited to see what he was about to put on, because that's literally how he started his brand. He started his, no. That's what kind of brought the buzz to his brand, was when he had his first, I think, show in 2015 that, he had the screens on the jackets and everything. It was basically about Black Lives Matter. So it was like, what are we going to see from him during, Couture Week? Like, how is he going to, in a sense, tie that representation and still give us, because people don't realize that couture, there's still a market of people who are still buying couture pieces. So as much as it is supposed to be avant-garde and very artistic, it still needs to be wearable. And a lot of those pieces that came down the runway were not wearable. Let's be so for real. Like, I don't know why people were trying to compare and compare things to other designers. It's like, no, let's be so serious. Why in the world would you send a jar of peanut butter down the runway? Let's be so freaking for real. Let's be so for real. Let's be so for real. Like, I get the messaging and I get what he was trying to do, because for those who don't know, like, a lot of the references and the quote unquote gimmicks and the quote unquote costumes were in reference to Black innovators of our time that kind of got us to where we are now, where we're able to do these things and be these people. But it was also just like that. I feel like I love the messaging. I love what he was trying to do, but I felt like it could have been done. It could have been done differently. It just really could have been done differently. The point blank period. And the fact that we all knew that, and we were just in the group chats. Y'all in the group chats talking about the queen while the queen is in the mother stew. Yeah, we was all in the group chats texting, keying, and then getting on the timeline talking about, so, oh my gosh, that was a great show. Actually, I never did that. I ain't never came on the TL and was like, oh, that was a great show. It was more of like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of this person being able to even just showcase anything for Paris Couture Week. And then it's another reason why I even wanted to have this episode was because I literally started thinking about, how like Couture Week in the past week or so, and just seeing, some it girls make some space. Shout out to Doja Cat. Y'all know I love my good sis Doja. And I was just like, wait, when was the last time we had a Black American designer at Couture Week? I mean, there's still Black people in general designing at Couture Week. We just don't talk about it because they don't get the same coverage like any other big name designer at Couture Week. But it was just like, when was it, like, we haven't had someone since Kirby. And it's kind of crazy to think about. It was like, they gave Kirby a chance, but what about Virgil? But then it's also like, I think maybe it might have been maybe a little hard to do that because, Virgil was the creative director for Louis Vuitton, and mostly like their like contemporary line, not necessarily their couture. But in general, and also this is part of the reason why I had this conversation with my friends and how this even came about before this article came out. I was just like, okay, who would we love to see in the next, as the next Black American for Couture Week? I reference Hanifa only because, and people don't know, also there's another thing I feel like a lot of people don't know, is that you have to have an atelier in order to even be able to present at Couture Week. Kirby had a small team of people and that was able to, do that. And from what I know publicly, I think Hanifa does have a small team of designers, and quote unquote an atelier. But it's also like, I feel like she's such a very contemporary brand. I feel like maybe not, but I feel like I think it's there. I think it's there, but it's just, I really do, for me in general, I think what it is my bias of being a Black woman and wanting to see more Black women take up spaces in spaces that we usually don't see each other in anyways. So I hope to see a Black woman in Couture Week in the near future. I would love to see it. I think it's what we all want to see, and we all kind of need. But yeah, I just kind of want to close that whole thing out and saying that I really do hope that in general, this conversation with this article, this critique, that we're able to continue to have healthy conversations and discourse and resolutions when we are dealing with people and things that are seemingly problematic. For Kirby and his brand, I really do hope that they're able to bounce back from this. I think they will, just because from the response from it all, because people are still very much not talking about it or trying not to talk about it because they feel like it might add to a certain problem. And I will say, the one thing I love for us as Black people right now is that we're making sure certain people, when I say certain people, non-Black people, are not joining on this conversation. Because to be honest, it's not for y'all. It is not for y'all. It's not. We're gonna handle this. We're gonna, group circle, hold hands. We're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna be right back. I bet you we will. We'll be right back. But I really do hope that he's able to bounce back from this. Me personally, y'all will still be seeing me rocking my Experiment 4s. Just because he had this one issue don't mean I'm going to stop wearing my Experiment 4s. They're fire. They work in my closet. And I really do hope nobody else is thinking about selling their stuff. Like, let's be so serious. This is not a Lilinciaga situation where you should be, or you kind of should be considering it. But yeah, we're still very much hoping for the best for Kirby and Pirate Moss. Till then, I hope that, I really do hope that we're able to platform the right people. I think there's so many, this is another reason why I talk so much about Black-owned brands. There's so many great brands out there, y'all, and it just takes one person, one face, one name, one mention for it to be out there. So till then, let's continue to platform Black-owned brands for the right reasons, for the right intentions, and for more. I just want to see more, I want to see more of us just taking up space. Okay, so I just decided to come up with this on the fly. Now, it's not a new concept. I've seen it circle around on social media where people have these things where they're like, oh, I find this to be the core end thing for the month, the week, the year, etc. And I find this needs to go out for the week, the month, of the year. So I'm going to call this segment in an ins and outs. So I only really have two, so one for each. So let's go ahead and just start with the in for the month. So it's funny enough, I'm actually in a group chat with her, but her name is Old Loser in Brooklyn. I forgot her actual name. You know how you just know people by their usernames? So yeah, I just know her by her username. And she basically started this thing called the Mended or a Mended Haul, where basically you're just fixing or finding ways to fix items that you already own. So she had a bunch of shoes that she decided, okay, I'm just going to spend the money to just get them fixed instead of just basically going out and trying to buy whole new shoes. Mind you, these aren't just things that you buy at a really low cost. These are really valuable things. I know she collects a lot of Margiela Tabbies. I forgot the other one that she named because I know the brand because I saw their shoes on Essence and I put it on my wish list. But yeah, she just had a bunch of things that she wanted to just get mended. And the concept was I just loved the concept of it. I'm yes, because y'all know my whole thing is figure out ways to just be more sustainable. And I feel like that's, yeah, again, rather than you just, of course, just rewearing your clothes, yeah, get them fixed. Like, if you can, like, if it's not like completely falling apart to the point where you can't, but like, if you can, like, try your best to, especially when I think about things like accessories, like, the market for fixing accessories is a lot more easy to do and fine than it is to like fix clothes, especially if you have like really delicate materials like silks and laces sometimes that are hard to just kind of like mend. So yeah, I really love the concept of mended hauls, and they're very much in for me. So if y'all have like shoes, clothes that you really feel like you want to hold on, you don't want to buy again, or in general, I just feel like if you really don't really have to go and buy it again, because it's probably going to cost you less to just go ahead and fix what you already have than trying to buy something completely new. Especially when I think about shoes, like shoes, especially like high end shoes, can take a little bit to break in and can be like a lot. So I rather just like fix what I already have than trying to buy something else. Also, upcycling. I love upcycling, especially things I already have, or if I personally, like, I tend to thrift for projects that I want to test out on like bigger scraps of material. That's another way too, just upcycling something you already have. Something I recently started doing is actually what I'm wearing right now. Well, it's not really mending, but it's, me making my own clothes. I recently decided I wanted to get back into crocheting. It's something I used to do with my mom. We used to both, like, she taught me how to crochet, but she knew how to knit and crochet. So I recently crocheted this beautiful bolero top that I'm wearing on top of my long sleeve, like, brown bodysuit shirt. And yeah, like, just literally just finding new ways to just use what you already have. And I'm noticing that this, of course, is a trend that's going on. I feel like people are getting also just in general, like, really bored. And this is my out. This is technically kind of my out for this episode, is people being kind of bored with fashion. And it's my out because I feel like, well, not just even being bored, just there being a general lack of interest in fashion. And for me, I think it's really because of I've been saying it repeatedly to my friends and just people, is like, really the trend cycle has really imploded, y'all. Like, everyone kind of is producing the same thing. Like, we can't sit and act like when you see one brand, it doesn't look like another brand, and it's not like, I don't think like these brands are intentionally copying each other. It's just like, there's just so much either going on, or everything is just like, it's like, I think what's going on is like, it's kind of hard for people to innovate. So they're just basically just taking what they can. Like, if the bolero is what everyone wants to purchase right now, every brand is going to figure out how to make their own version of a bolero that a consumer is going to want to buy. Because y'all, capitalism. Y'all ever have conversations, especially when I'm having these conversations with y'all on this podcast, when I'm having them with my friends, y'all ever just realize like every conversation just leads back to capitalism, especially if you live in America. Every conversation is always going to lead back to capitalism. It's crazy. And to the point of it all, like, at the end of the day, these brands got to sell. They got to make money, because if my what don't hustle, my baby don't eat. If my baby don't eat, then what? I don't sleep. I don't know if that's how the lyrics go, but like, every time I just think about capitalism, it makes me think about that song. Like, anyways, y'all. But yeah, my out is the lack of interest in fashion. And my reasoning for that is because I feel like people don't really have genuine interest in fashion. I think it's just the end thing now. It's kind of what I talked about in the last episode, where I feel like, one of my episodes last season, where it was like, beauty used to be the end thing, and of course now fashion's the end thing. So it's just like people are just interested in it because like it's the thing to talk about right now. But I also kind of love it too, because it's kind of an in and out for me. It's like in and it's also out, because it's like, I love that more people are interested in fashion and understanding fashion and just like knowing about it. But it's also like, because it's such an in thing and it's very profitable right now when it didn't really used to be as profitable. It's like, there's also people who don't have genuine interest, and they're just like saying and doing anything. Like, recently, like on TikTok, I'm like seeing people who have like huge like platforms just saying a bunch of bullshit. Like, that's what it is. A bunch of bullshit, like bull. It's just straight bull. And it's just like, if you don't have a understanding or a real context as to what you're saying, like, you don't know what you're putting out there. That's why I said I wanted to be really careful about the conversation I was having about, Pyros and the direction of that, because it's not hateful. I mean, do I have my personal opinions that I probably won't share on here? Yeah, we all do. Let's be so for real. I'm always going to be for real with y'all. I do. But at the same time, it doesn't stop me from still supporting the brand. It doesn't stop me from still enjoying whatever it is that they're putting out, if it makes sense. So I feel like a lot of like what people are putting out there on social media just doesn't have any base to it. And it's just like, you're just saying this. Okay, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let y'all sit in it, let it marinate. But a lot of the times I feel like people who are in this fashion space that have a huge following, they're consumers before they're ever influencers or thought leaders or people who have really thought-provoking things to say, because it's just to the point of a TikTok I saw before I started before I started recording this. Someone I saw on my FYP was basically saying like, it's a lot of hot takes, and it's like, it just feels like you're saying these things for views. And yes, a lot of people are just saying these things for views. They don't really know what they're saying. Like, let's think. Let's use our thinking caps, babes, before we speak. And that's why I'm very careful with what I say on here, because, who knows how this is going to resonate in the next couple of years? Who knows how I'm going to feel about what I said then and now? So, you kind of have to, sometimes I try my best to have unbiased views when I'm looking at something and saying something. So, yeah, but anyways, y'all, I don't want to, dive too much into that aspect. But yeah, for me, the out for this episode is people's lack of real interest for fashion. And I don't know, hopefully I'm seeing some people come up in this space and really have such beautiful things to say. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh, you said exactly what I was thinking, especially when I thought about this, like, especially as I was talking about the whole Pyros thing. I'm seeing on social media people kind of like literally taking the words out of my head and just saying it. Like, come on, Pastor, preach, But yeah, y'all, those are my ins and outs for this episode. Hopefully I have some more, but I kind of don't want to either, because like, who am I to, like, yes, tastemakers, yes. Yeah, I'm a tastemaker. I said it. Yeah. But, who am I to sit and say what's really in and out? This is just my personal viewpoint and my personal thoughts on what I see and how I, take it in. But, hopefully next episode, maybe we might have some more, maybe we might not. But till then, this was the in and out segment of the podcast. Now, y'all know I couldn't go this episode without giving y'all a who's taking it. Is that the voice I'm going to use for that? I guess so, y'all. I don't know. I don't know. You know what's funny? This is so random and so out of this podcast, but the way some of y'all be telling me, like, I have a very sultry voice is hilarious to me, because it's like, I don't see it that way. Because some of y'all have like listened to my podcast to put you to sleep, and I'm like, was that shade? Was that shade? Because I'm not boring. I know I'm not boring. So maybe y'all are true in the sense that I have a very soft, well, it's not soft. It's very Tony Braxton. Who do you think I am? Don't you know? Not too much because copyright. I just realized that. Not too much because of copyright. But anyways, back to who's taking it. So for who's taking it, I'm dedicating it to one person and one person only. Miss Doja Cat. Yeah, Miss Doja Cat. She was taking it for Couture Week, real bad. Like, she was her and JT, but JT, I wish she had more moments, and I feel like this is probably her introduction, because we haven't really seen her really go to any runway shows besides like New York Fashion Week, and I'm here for that because y'all know it's coming up. But like, she needed more moments for me. But Miss Doja, she was taking it really bad, like really, 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 really bad. And from the looks to the confidence to what she was saying, like, I don't know if you guys saw, well, no, you guys all saw. Who didn't see it? Like, who didn't see Doja in Swarovski's crystals? Like, was it Swarovski? It had to be Swarovski. Like, let's be for real. It's the most, like, I guess, FDA body safe, bling or whatever. Anyways, yeah, we all saw her decked out in Swarovski and Schiaparelli. What a combo, twin M. It was given. It was given. We all saw her in that red. And of course, people had their very religious thoughts on it, because, when people see red, they instantly think of the devil. And I get that, to a degree, but like, it doesn't speak to me or anything. But, can we just appreciate art for art? Like, why does everything gotta be theorized? No, it's not every day. It's not every day. It's not every day. Also, I just want to say, for those who are listening to my podcast for the first time, I don't think I've mentioned it on here, but I'm very much Nigerian. So every once in a while, my accent might just come out because I am in the comfort of my home. So, yeah. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, Doja was taking it. She was taking it really, 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 really bad. And then when y'all was trying to come for her for not wearing lashes, she said, oh, cool, bet. I'm going to make sure Auntie Pat gives me a very editorially fluffy lash look, where she basically used lashes to make a mustache, make her eyebrows look even, fluffier than they probably already look. I don't even think she put the lashes on her actual lash. Like, it was like the comedy, the satire for me. It's what she did with that, the response to that. It's what Hailey Bieber thought she was doing when she wore that Nepo Baby t-shirt. She thought she was going to have that effect. It didn't. It didn't eat. It was when the girls was eating, when the girls was eating her up on Twitter about that, I was like, no, she deserved that. Cause I looked at that, I was just like, girl, we forgot you were a Nepo baby. We really did, because I really forgot that she used to, what was her name? Hallie Chop. Even forgot her last name. Like, she thought she ate. Give me that goddamn plate. Give me that goddamn plate. Like, no. But anyways, y'all, that's my who's taking it. Doja did the damn thing. Just the whole couture week. Like, I'm probably gonna, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm most likely gonna insert some photos, etc., of just like cute little pop-ups or whatever of what Doja was wearing, and the shows that she sat for. I kind of wish there was more, but in general, I just love Doja. I don't know if I ever told y'all my Doja story on here. I don't know if I did. Maybe I did, because like sometimes you know how you say things and you don't know when you've said how many times you said it. I probably did, but I'm gonna sum it up. First of all, Doja Cat is like the coolest person in real life. The same way she presents herself in the media is how she is in real life. So basically, y'all know that, like, what was it, 2 years ago, she hosted the VMAs. I have a friend, he's really cool. He's always wanting to put me in certain rooms and stuff, and I appreciate him. Y'all will eventually meet him on this podcast, because he knows. Ever since I started this podcast, he knows that we were going to hop on an episode. He's the type of person where we sit and we have so many good conversations about fashion. He helps me understand things. I help him understand things, because he's more of like on the streetwear end, whereas I'm very contemporary and very like, I kind of see everything, but I'm just not the greatest in streetwear, and he kind of like helps me in that way. But anyways, I digress. He was like, okay, we're going to go to her VMA after party. At first, he didn't tell me it was Doja Cat. He just told me we were going to a VMA after party, because at that time period when they did the VMAs, it was also Fashion Week. So it was so much going on, y'all. It was Fashion Week. It was VMAs. It was I think even Met Gala too. Yes, it was. Oh my gosh, there was so much going on. I think I eventually got tired at some point, and we did leave at some point because I wasn't living in New York at that time. So yeah, he invited me to go to the after party. When we got there is when he told me whose after party it was, and I was just like, huh? And this is when my social anxiety started kicking in. And people don't believe me when I say I have social anxiety, because like when I present more extroverted, I do come off to be a very good time and someone who kind of has it together. But baby, in the back of my head, I'm trying to make sure I don't like mess up and say the wrong things. I don't present awkward. That's my social anxiety. So I'm like, yo, okay, I'm just going to tell you. So basically what happened was like, I went in first. My other friends still had to get in or whatever. I get in, y'all. I didn't realize it was open bar. That's how you know I was so new to this scene and this all of this or whatever. I didn't know it was open bar. Either way, I was getting ready to pay. And they were like, they were looking at me crazy because I was about to pull my card out and pay for my drink. Yo, it was kind of embarrassing. But anyways, I'm standing around. I'm texting my friends like, y'all, when y'all finna get in, because I'm like, when I tell y'all, every time I turn my head, it was a new celebrity. Like, it was a new celebrity. Like, I remember when I was getting my drink, the cast of the new Gossip Girl, were, like all of them were in there. The one who plays Obi, I forgot their names. Pretty much everyone, but Julian the girl who plays Julian was there, but I think she had already left, or that she went into a deeper part of the club or whatever. But everybody was in there, and I was just getting anxiety because I'm like, all these people are around me. I don't know what to do. Like, where my people's at? Like, somebody come save me. But yeah. So basically, they were all able to get in. We were having a good time. Eventually, I was able to get into a section with this girl. Met this really cool girl. Came to find out she has like a huge Instagram following. Doesn't really matter to me. She was really cool though. Really, really cool girl. If anyone was to say anything about her, I'd be like, she was cool. I don't know what y'all got to say, but she was cool. But I don't remember her name. That's the funnier part. I don't remember her name, but I feel like if I saw her, I would be able to say who she was. I don't remember her name. But anyways, y'all, I feel like I'm dragging this story out. This is my biggest problem, is that I have the hardest time like getting to the point. So, but I'm getting to the point, y'all. I promise I'm getting to the point. So, we're having a good time. My friend eventually leaves because he liked to act like he an old head when he really not. He's like in his early 30s, like not too much king. But he left. I was still there. Then two of my friends and one of my friends and my best friend, they decided they want to leave because they were getting tired. Me and my other friend, who like has the same birthday as me, like we're both Sagittariuses. I was like, Ashley, do you want to stay? And she was like, girl, yeah. I was like, good. I have a partner. Cool. Because I didn't want to be there by myself, clearly. So we're staying. Doja is like walking back and forth because this is her party, whatever. She got to greet people, Madonna in the back. Like, I'm telling you, the amount of celebrities in there was crazy. At one point, I was like face to face with Carisha. Child, it was a good party. So, yeah, anyways, she went back and forth. I said hi. I'm saying hi to her like I know her, like she know me. Next thing you know, these girls, they saw me and they saw me dancing, having a good time, and they were like, oh, invited me over to that section. We kikiing, having fun. We start chatting. Coming to find out, this girl is like a stylist and she works for this. We connected, whatever. Doja comes over because she knows the girl, not the stylist, but the stylist's client. They're like close friends. I don't know what happened. Me and Doja kind of looked at each other. She was already dancing. We started dancing with each other, and I'll probably put the video in here somewhere. Do I really want to put that out again? I don't know. We'll see. We started dancing, having a good time. It was vibes. And, we started chatting a little bit. And then she was like, she told her management to tell us that she's moving us over to a different section, which was like by the DJ booth. Cool. Come over. They're doing bottle service, etc. Tiana Taylor rolls in with Jada Waiter. Yes, Jada Waiter. And I forgot his name, but he used to be Megan's stylist. I forgot his name. And then just who Gus who he owns a clothing brand. Me and Tiana having a good time because she's like watching me dance because they started playing Afrobeats. At this point, it's like starting to dwindle down the night, and my African self is gonna go off. Mind you, I have like 4-inch heels on, and mind you, they were like, luckily they were comfortable. Surprisingly, they were comfortable. I'm over there going off like it's like it's the last battle, last dance. I mind you, I'm not drunk. I had like one drink. This is just me and my social anxiety battling each other on the dance floor. Anyways, so yeah, that happened. Doja and Tiana are dancing. Tiana's like, oh my gosh, you gotta teach me how to dance like this. Child, it was just such a good time. It was such a vibe. And I thoroughly love Doja. Doja is such a good time. Like, That's my queen. That's my girl. We don't do pretend. Petty cake. But anyways, yeah, that's my Doja story. I do have other stories, but I don't know if I'll ever really share them. Not that they're anything bad. Bad, of course, they're not. Sometimes I'm very much a live in the moment girl. And the only reason why there's even videos of me dancing with Doja is because my friend caught them. My friend that I, was tagging along with, and we stayed for the night, and we both left at the same time. Otherwise than that, y'all would have just had to believe what I said out my mouth. To be honest, even now, y'all probably just gonna have to believe what I said out of my mouth if I don't put the video on here. But it happened. If you ever find my old TikTok it's somewhere on the internet. I know that. It was posted at one point because But that's my Doja story, and this is why maybe I might have a Doja bias, maybe I might not. But either way, we can't sit here and lie and say that Doja wasn't taking it, because she was. She's been taking it. She's doing what a lot of girls say it girls aren't doing, and she's doing that. She's having conversations with fashion that we have been missing. I think when I was talking about my out being lack of interest in fashion, I also did mean that there's been a lack of interest in fashion because of the fact there's nothing good really happening, nothing interesting happening, and she's kind of bringing the fun back to fashion. And it's the driving point for Section OD is like, let's bring the fun back to fashion. Let's have conversations about fashion that are lighthearted. And that's what she's doing. And while also just poking fun, she's having fun, y'all. And you can't take away from that. Even when she's sitting here and she's having these looks that are that are making you think a certain way. That's what we need. We haven't had a real it girl, a real it girl. And I really do hope to see other people, sorry. I really do hope to see other people rise in the light as well too. Especially when I think of people like Lizzo. Lizzo's a real it girl. It girls also by definition start trends. Doja hasn't really started a trend for me, really. She does have a sense of style that I feel like doesn't have a specific aesthetic, which also is very inspirational for me because I don't like to be associated with just one aesthetic. But she hasn't really started any trends for me, like fashion trends. Lizzo is legitimately starting fashion trends. And that's another person I really want to start seeing more, attending more shows, is Lizzo. But I also feel like it's the fat phobia of it all, in that yes, there's designers and brands coming out and being able to put more plus size models down the runway, and also have sizing charts that are bigger than 2X, 3X. But it's also why don't you want to see a plus size person in your front row? I mean, I've seen plus size people in the front rows, but these are people who are not the behind the scenes people, but we don't really talk about in the media like that. But yeah, I really hope to see Lizzo, for sure, in more fashion shows. She's an it girl, y'all. She's starting real trends. Yitty is doing amazing. I love Yitty. It's definitely Yitty over Skims. No tea, no shade. I said what I said, and that's that. But yeah, I definitely want to see her more. Like I said earlier, we just need more Black women in general this year. We just need to take up so much freaking space, so much space, to the point where it's I want people to be annoyed. I want people to be so annoyed, whether it's through me, through anybody that I love seeing in the media, because this is what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I know there's other women like me who resonate with that too. So, yeah, that's my who's taking it for this episode, Miss Doja Cat. And girl, keep taking it. You're doing it for me. You're keeping this podcast kind of going with having me have conversation or something to talk about, to be honest, because I was trying to figure out, I was I want to do a who's taking it this episode, but it was who's actually taking it? What's actually taking it? And Miss Doja came and saved the day. I love her down for that, y'all. I really do. I really, really do. So this is episode 1 of many for season 2 of Section OD. I know some of y'all probably okay, Odie, what happened to the people that you said you're going to bring? Oh, baby, they're coming. But y'all have to remember, this is still about me. I'm playing. It's not about me, or it's not only about me. There's so much to come with Section OD, y'all. I'm so happy and proud. I just want to actually say this, I guess from a public standpoint, is like I'm just really proud of myself for what I'm creating and what I'm cultivating. And I can't wait to show y'all what I have in mind and in store for Section OD, and also what you guys have to bring to me as well. Sorry, I just saw somebody just walk past the window and it kind of creeped me out. But yeah, I just have a lot in store for y'all, and especially as like summertime's approaching. If you're watching this and you don't follow me on Instagram, on my personal Instagram, please do. I feel like I talk on there more than I actually talk on my Section OD Instagram page. That's just where I post like actual Section OD things, like whether it's like, you know, when the episode comes out, occasional like little content, but like my personal page is where I really like talk about things. And one of the things that I really plan on doing for Section OD is throwing a party, and I'm very adamant on throwing this party, and I'm really excited because as much as I love talking about fashion, I'm so multi-dimensional in the sense of like I enjoy so many different things and how to integrate that into fashion. So that's what this whole party is going to stand for, and I'm planning on spending pretty much from the start of, you know, February until the date that I have chosen is planning and working towards making this party happen. And more details and more to come, but sometimes it's also good to put things out there so you have the right energy and you also just know it's like gonna happen too. So I'm really putting this out there because y'all, I'm throwing this party. I said it on my close friends. I was like, God told me to throw this party. So it's gonna happen. And I'm excited to not only meet the people that I'm cultivating on this platform, but also just being around people who just love a good time and a good vibe. So there's that. And then in regards to from what I started from, bringing on other people, that's to come. I think that might happen further into this season. I really want to be able to consistently host other people in a certain space. So I'm trying to situate going about like finding a good space to do that. As much as I would love to do that, I mean, most of the people that I'm bringing on, actually everyone I'm pretty much bringing on is a friend or someone that I've like built a relationship with, but I just want to have a middle ground with everyone and where we can meet and where we can comfortably have these conversations with y'all. So yeah, that's to come. And I already know who's the first person because they already called dibs on the first episode featuring someone else other than me. So yeah, that's to come, y'all. And more of that. And also, before I close this out, I really want y'all to be open with, you know, how you view this podcast, your thoughts on it, and also, you know, where you kind of want to see or what you kind of want to see me talk about. So that's why I always make sure to, you know, let you guys know, like, please don't be afraid to leave a comment when you're reviewing. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, you can comment, of course, because I love seeing feedback. I love critique, good or bad. And you always, as a person, you will always know when someone is critiquing you or criticizing you. There's a difference. So I know when people are genuinely critiquing me, and I always take it into heart and into consideration with anything I do. So please do not ever be afraid to leave a comment when you're reviewing the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to it on, or if you're watching on YouTube and listening as well, don't afraid to leave a comment. And of course, y'all, don't be afraid to subscribe. Do y'all not love me? Y'all not love the grow? Do y'all not love me? Like, just hit that subscribe button real quick. Like it's right there. Like it's right there, you know? You'll always be updated when I drop a new episode. Of course, I'm trying to be a lot more consistent. So, with at least doing 2 episodes a month. Now, if there's more, the more the merrier, of course. But I'm always going to consistently put 2 episodes out a month. That's also why I'm really pushing you guys to, you know, comment, because which I want to hear. Because after a while, it does feel like repetition, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I don't want to always feel like I'm constantly giving the same message, even though that is kind of the point. It's one thing my mom taught me. So sometimes when you keep saying something, eventually action does come out of it. But I do want to have different conversations about different things. And not feel like I'm constantly talking about the same thing. So that's that for season 1. I'm not season 1, child. Season 2, episode 1. It's your girl Odie, of course. And as always, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next one.